Now at 9, a death investigation in Joplin leaves questions for authorities. We'll tell you what they tell us. Plus, a Pitt State team makes the Final Four, but not the competition you may think. And
a Manhattan grand jury will not meet on Wednesday as they weigh a possible indictment. I'm Mallory Rivera in New York with the details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation identifies the remains of a body found in Wilson County. The body is identified as 43-year-old Stephanie Willard of Fredonia. Her remains were discovered by hunters last Thursday in a rural part of the county on Decatur Road south of Coyville. The KBI asked anyone who had contact with Willard in the last 3 weeks to contact them or the Wilson County Sheriff's Office. Police investigate the deaths of 2 people found in a Joplin home. Police tape surrounds a home in the East Town neighborhood. Investigators say the 2 adults found dead inside lived in the home. They're identified as 24-year-old Savannah Bell and 44-year-old Jason Schoeffler. But police say they're still trying to determine what happened and when. Police Captain William Davis tells us an autopsy will be conducted tomorrow. Davis says he believes this is an isolated case and that there's no threat to the public. However, their investigation continues. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has signed a bill into law that bars transgender students from using restrooms that do not align with the sex listed on their birth certificate. The bill cleared the state's legislature earlier this month. It covers restrooms, locker rooms, changing rooms, and shower rooms. It allows superintendents, teachers, and principals to be fined a minimum of $1,000 if they do not comply. It'll go into effect in the late summer. And now to weather, Chief Meteorologist Doug Cady joins us.
Well, it turned out to be a warm one for us today. Most of us went mid to upper 70s for afternoon highs. Started at 52. We had a big warm up throughout the overnight hours. Normal high is 62, so we're 14 degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. Now we just have the clouds, which are pushing through. If we look underneath the clouds, not too much is going on. We're going to stay mainly dry for us tonight, but our next storm system is building out to the west, and that's going to start to affect us as we go through the next couple days. In fact, look at the front, kind of clipping our northern counties. We're going to stay warm as we go through the overnight hours. Very windy as well. We have the south winds 20 to 30. We're going to have gusts kind of in that 30 to 40 mile per hour range. So through the night, look at this. We only drop back to 64, but scattered thunderstorms start popping up tomorrow. Of course, we're going to break that all down for you here in just a bit.
All right, we'll see you then. Traveling is not slowing down despite industry setbacks. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to local travel agents about this travel season.
Traveling is increasing nationwide as peak season arrives. However, the travel industry is currently experiencing a shortage of pilots, flight attendants, and other roles. Terry Littleton at Reservation Travel Services in Joplin believes time will help the shortage.
It affects everybody, and it takes a while. I mean, you can't, you can't train a pilot overnight. You wouldn't want to. So.
The travel problems of yesteryear don't deter travelers now.
Cruises, of course, are crazy busy. They were shut down for about 2 years during the COVID mess, so everybody's clamoring to get on the ships.
The shortage of workers' problems is hitting the travel industry as demands grow. Travel agent Scott Austin says travel is 94% back to pre-pandemic levels.
You wouldn't know in the travel industry that there's talks of inflation or a recession because people are willing to spend the money and are excited to travel.
Despite inflation in plane tickets and gas prices, tourists are still excited to travel to their destinations domestically and internationally. Here's what some of them have to say from across the country.
Because we had our own RV and we've just discovered it is a nice way to travel. I don't think it's cheaper though when you consider the expense of the RV and 12 miles the gallon in the truck to pull the RV with.
It's not any more difficult, I don't think, even before COVID it did. I do appreciate not having to wear the mask on the plane anymore and take my chances, but
it's still a pain.
Yeah.
I've been noticing that we had to pay money to get out of the area.
I'm the one that can't sleep in cars. She's the one that can sleep in every single terrain you could think of.
When you compare it to Salt Lake, these roads are really nice.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Travel agents say the shortage of workers is affecting flight delays, layovers, and more. It's March Madness, and one local university made the Elite Four, but not in basketball, but academically. It's for Pitt State's Mechanical Contractors Association of America chapter, part of the School of Construction. The Pitt State group was one of 22 chapters to submit a proposal for a national energy project last fall, and the school has now advanced to the Final Four. Sometimes it's more than just competing.
I really learned how to work as a team, especially in a construction management setting. And through that, just talking with all these guys multiple nights a week, we'd be talking through issues on the project and how we can the most efficiently manage our schedule.
The installation challenges include 3 1,000-ton cooling towers, a sewer heat recovery system, heat exchangers, pumps, and piping. The Final Four competition will be in Phoenix, Arizona. Dance moves change with time, but some dance moves stick around for decades, sometimes even centuries. Students with the Professor Janice Jewett's dance appreciation class at Pitt State took a trip back in time to learn some dance moves from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. Dances came from many different cultures.
I learned a lot about the Balkans regions and how those affected the style and the vibes of how people in Pittsburgh still dance today.
Next week, the students will take a tour of Immigrant Park downtown and perform dances at the Pritchard Pavilion. The pavilion is the site of a former train depot from the era they're studying. A Manhattan grand jury may reconvene tomorrow and could vote then on whether to indict former President Donald Trump. They are considering his alleged involvement in a scheme which offered his hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels during his 2016 presidential campaign. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more from New York.
The Manhattan District Attorney's Office canceling grand jury proceedings on Wednesday, delaying a possible indictment vote against former President Donald Trump. Sources tell Fox News the jurors were on standby for Thursday. They were expected to hear from one final witness regarding a 2016 hush money case. Typically, there are 23 grand jurors, and prosecutors need 12 to agree that there is legally sufficient evidence showing Trump committed the crimes he is being charged with.
The last thing the grand jury heard on Monday was a witness who was damaging to the state's case in Robert Costello. If I can take a few days and prep whatever I think I need to do to respond to what Costello gave them, give that to the grand jury.
District Attorney Alvin Bragg has been under enormous pressure not to pursue this case and could ask a judge to dismiss the charges or withdraw the case before a grand jury vote is taken. Trump has denied the allegations against him and claims the case is politically motivated. Some high-profile lawmakers agree.
In New York, you have one of the highest crime rates in America. His job is to prosecute the bad guys, but he's spending all this time in self-promotion trying to do what I consider a political stunt.
In addition to the New York case, Trump is facing several other investigations, including one into whether he and his allies illegally meddled in the 2020 election. He also faces a federal probe into the potential mishandling of classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate. Grand jury proceedings are secret, and an indictment typically remains sealed until an arraignment. In New York, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Coming up, costing more to get vaccinated.
Moderna's CEO faced a grilling on the Hill Wednesday over an announced price hike for their COVID vaccine. I'm Mike Emanuel in Washington with all that went down during that Senate hearing coming up.
Some lawmakers are asking Moderna to rethink their plans to boost the cost of their COVID shot. The company's CEO was on the hot seat at a Senate hearing today, fielding questions ranging from the planned price bump to the safety of the vaccine. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel reports from Washington.
Pharmaceutical company Moderna is being accused of corporate greed. They'll hike the cost of their COVID shot to $130 a dose once the government stockpile runs dry later this year. At a Senate help hearing Wednesday, there was bipartisan outrage.
Quadrupling the price is huge, and I would hope very much that you will reconsider that decision.
A 400% price increase is preposterous.
The federal government paid just $26 per shot. Moderna CEO Stefan Bancel defended the price bump.
this is not the same product. We're expecting a 90%, 90, reduction in demand. As you can see, we're losing economies of scale. We must deal with supply chain complexity.
Committee Chairman Bernie Sanders went after Moderna and its leadership for making billions during the pandemic on the backs of Americans. U.S. taxpayers have shelled out billions to fund the vaccine.
You became a multi-billionaire overnight.
I've heard people say, well, that's corporate greed. Yeah, that's kind of how the free enterprise system works.
Republican Senator Rand Paul, who is a medical doctor, also grilled the CEO on whether the vaccine is safe for young people.
You have children.
I do.
Have you vaccinated your children?
I have.
How many times?
3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times.
Moderna's CEO said he plans to work with hospitals and homeless shelters to expand access to the vaccine to the uninsured. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Researchers say eating seeds and nuts are a possible way to maintain a healthy heart. Results published in the Food and Nutrition Research Journal show eating a handful of nuts every day decreases the risk of heart disease by 20 to 25%. Researchers say almonds, pistachios, and walnuts are ranked among the best for lowering cholesterol. While the review did not provide an exact cause and effect for the results, researchers believe the composition of fatty acids in nuts and seeds is the main factor in reducing heart disease. Doug is back with a complete look at the forecast and later, the latest on the newest interest rate hike and how this could affect your pockets.
Well, it turned out to be a mild, warm, windy day for us today. Winds gusting at times 30 to 40 miles per hour. And it looks like that I can put my microphone on so that you guys can actually hear me. So I might as well say run the clock too. There we go. All right, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort looks pretty good. And if we go outside, look at these temps. This is crazy. Yesterday we were in the 40s. Today we shoot all the way up into the 70s to near 80 for afternoon highs. We're going to stay warm tonight. Look at this. Joplin 72, Kansas City 54, Lincoln 46. You can see the front. Central Kansas, central parts of Oklahoma. This front is going to slide in, and that's what's going to fire off these showers and thunderstorms as we go into Thursday. Let's go outside right now. 72 still. South winds at 18. Of course, gusts have been quite a bit higher than that. We have the clouds, nothing underneath the clouds, but our storm system building out to the west, which is going to change our weather up as we go into Thursday. In fact, here's the noon hour, here's 3 p.m., here's 6 p.m. Those chances go way up as we get into the afternoon and evening hours and pretty much stay high all night long. All right, severe threat. I don't see a big severe threat here. Even down in Oklahoma, I think the greatest threat is going to be hail. But we could get some small hail and some gusty winds in our southern counties. I think our main threat here is going to be flooding. So I'm going to keep all threats low, but I'm going to put heavy rain high. Now, where's that going to be? That's going to be along and south of I-44. That's just the pattern this year. I know southeastern Kansas, they keep getting kind of squeaked by. But here comes the front in the morning. It slides to the I-44 corridor by noon. By evening, it slides into our southern counties. So we're on the north side, so we have northerly winds, so a more stable air mass. But our southern counties, Delaware, Benton, McDonald, Berry, that's where the front's going to hang out, so that's where the biggest storms are going to be. So some of these initial ones, so here's 6:30, some of these could pack a punch, some small hail, some gusty winds. But again, the main focus here is going to be we're going to have storms going over the exact same area all night long. Periods of showers and thunderstorms along and south of the I-44 corridor. Here's 9:30. We can go after midnight. We can go toward Friday morning. I think once we get to daybreak on Friday morning, heaviest rain is out of here. Then we just settle in with showers all day long, much cooler by the time we head into Friday. So tomorrow, we stay in the 60s through the morning, then early afternoon, here comes the front. So we drop into the 50s by the time we head into the evening hours. Also, we're going to pick up some heavy amounts of rain across the region. We're going to focus more on that in the second half hour. But we are going to make Thursday and Friday alert days just because of the flooding rain potential in our southern counties. 69 tomorrow, 56 Friday. A few showers over the weekend, rain back in late Monday and Tuesday. Also make sure to put my mic on in the second half hour.
All right, sounds good. But as far as those high temps you were talking about today, it was cloudy, so I wasn't expecting it to be warm, but I walked outside and I was like, yeah, let me go change real
Yeah,
quick.
it was great. It felt like spring.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you, Doug. Coming up, another interest rate hike on the way.
The Federal Reserve has made its decision on whether or not to hike interest rates again. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. More on that, plus what we're hearing from lawmakers on next year's budget.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell announcing another interest rate hike. Powell also reflected on the recent collapse of 2 U.S. banks and the fight against inflation. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, Biden cabinet officials appeared before various committees to defend the president's 2024 budget proposal. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard reports from Washington.
My colleagues and I understand the hardship that high inflation is causing.
After weeks of speculation, the Federal Reserve is once again raising interest rates by a 1/4 percentage point, the highest since 2007, as it tries to bring down inflation to its 2% target. Powell also said what he thinks they'll do with future rate hike decisions.
We will closely monitor incoming data and carefully assess the actual and expected effects of tighter credit conditions.
Some economists called for the Fed to pause the hikes after the collapse of 2 U.S. banks earlier this month.
Maybe we get a soft landing, but either way, I think we end up in the same spot where the consumer pulls back a little bit, growth slows down. It's what the Fed wants to see.
Amid the economic uncertainty, Biden cabinet officials arrived on Capitol Hill to defend the president's 2024 budget proposal.
We, the United States, have a positive vision for the future, a world that is free, that is secure, that is open, that is prosperous. And it's our belief that the budget that we put forward will help advance that vision.
The plan calls for $6.8 trillion in spending and would raise taxes on corporations and the wealthy in order to help strengthen Medicare and Social Security. Republicans oppose the plan.
We'll probably run out of digits at some point under the Biden administration, but we're going to ignore it.
House Republicans have yet to put forward their own budget plan. A proposal could be made public next month. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Next, a timeless album turns 60 years old. On this day 60 years ago, a musical and cultural revolution began. On March 22nd, 1963, the Beatles released their debut album, Please Please Me. Less than a year later, it landed the British musicians a spot on the Ed Sullivan Show. They performed in front of 73 million viewers, and Beatlemania was born. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr became household names. Some have called the group the original band boy, but their influence went beyond music. The revolution influenced art, design, and fashion for decades to come. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, Arvis Bank is giving refinancing tips. Plus, Goodman, Missouri receives a grant to improve their roads. The healthcare industry is among Missouri City's biggest employers, yet there's still a major workforce shortage. That includes occupational therapy, a field that helps people get back to their jobs. Reporter Joe Hickman has a look at the way Cox College in Springfield is addressing the OT shortage.
And then just do what you normally do at home. So go ahead and grab the handles, and 1, 2, 3, we're gonna stand.
Doing something as simple as brushing your teeth is a task many of us take for granted. But here at Cox College, students are training to get a Master of Science in Occupational Therapy so they can go out and help people in recovery with their physical, psychological, and sensory skills to return to their daily lives. The patients could be anywhere from a newborn to someone in their final stages of life. So it takes a caring, patient kind of person to take on the challenge.
The opportunity to work with patients from babies up until that death and dying hospice area of developmental age of life, I think really spoke to me.
Occupational therapists often meet families and individuals on their very worst day, not their very best day. And an OT can help partner with someone who's had a chronic illness, who has a developmental delay, or who has chronic pain or trauma that they didn't expect. No one plans for that.
Located in the shadows of Cox North Hospital, Cox College started as the Burge Training School for Nurses in 1907, but now offers other health-related programs that all could use more employees.
Certainly, we all know that nursing is by far the largest shortage, but we look at shortages across the board. Are our classes filled? Yes, but can we take more students? Absolutely.
And that's why, starting in May, Cox College will be adding a doctorate degree to its occupational therapy program, as after 116 years of education,
it's our first doctoral degree.
And those with 90 credit hours can still apply for the highest type of college academic degree that brings with it more responsibilities in today's ever-changing healthcare world.
They will be part of the solution for expanding healthcare access, be innovative, to find solutions to the complexity of the healthcare problems that exist today, and to provide access to therapies that might not exist or be accessible for clients currently.
Applications are now open for the program's inaugural class. You can learn more about Cox College's occupational therapy doctoral program at coxcollege.edu. It's a time of financial uncertainty for many in the 4 states and across the nation. Some people may have questions about refinancing their home during these times. RS Bank is offering tips for people who may have questions or just want to learn how to do so. And there are a lot of factors that go into refinancing.
The top is consolidating debt. U.S. overall is at the highest it's ever been with credit card debt. And so most of our refinances are people now that their credit card rates are going up, and rates being affected with the Fed does change their credit card rates.
Refinancing rates vary from person to person because they're determined by credit score and debt to income ratio. Goodman, Missouri looks toward a couple of ballot issues ahead of the election on April 4th. The Proposition for Public Safety looks to add 1% general sales tax to help funding for law enforcement, equipment, and maintenance. They also hope to add a new officer. The city is also looking to invest into repaving roads. Goodman decided to not repave just sections of roads, but to repave all of the city's roads. The city will take out a $750,000 loan and use the city's mass transportation tax revenue to pay it back.
We can have all of Goodman paved at once and be very comfortable, set pretty. We're not going to take away from anything because this money that we're getting can only be spent on the streets anyways. So we're not taking from another department, we're not taking away from the city in any way. We're improving it and going to be saving a bunch of money.
Repaving will be around 6 miles total of roads and is expected to begin July 1st. The city of Granby, Missouri is looking to pass on an $11 million bond. It's for the purpose of extending and improving the combined waterworks and sewerage system. The money will be for acquiring land and rights of way, the cost of operation and maintenance, and interest on the bond. The city says this doesn't affect the tax at all. It's going to sell bonds and will be paid back on rate increase on the water.
The water project basically is trying to update a system that is in a lot of places 100 years old. Old lines, that a lot of them are malleable steel and galvanized steel.
The mayor says if it does not pass, they will try to go about fixing the system without the money, but they say they're worried it'll increase the bond price in the future. The nation's all-voluntary military force is facing a challenge the top brass say has the attention of every military leader. Fox News Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffith is in Washington with the latest on what that challenge is.
The Army is in a fierce competition for talent with the private sector.
In testimony before the Senate Armed Services Committee, the undersecretaries from the Army, Air Force, and Navy spoke to a new battle they are facing, a historic decline in military recruits.
We need decisive action today to meet our recruiting goals.
This month, the Air Force projected it's on track to miss its 2023 recruiting goal by 10%. Last year, the U.S. Army set a goal of 60,000 recruits. It fell short by 15,000 soldiers.
Even in the best of times, a strong economy and low national unemployment have always made military recruiting difficult.
Military leaders say their challenge to recruit has been made tougher by an increase in civilian opportunities, topped by a decrease in interest among Americans.
To be all you can be.
In an effort to boost recruitment, the Army this month relaunched its popular 1981 ad campaign, Be All You Can Be.
Like businesses, we continually adjust our recruiting strategies to attain success.
Meantime, top Republican Senator Roger Wicker took aim at the Defense Department's attempt to address the role that a small number of active duty military played in storming the Capitol on January 6th.
The military has decided to address a problem that doesn't exist, military extremism.
To help boost recruitment, the Biden administration has proposed its largest military pay increase in more than 20 years. Yet critics argue the proposal still lags behind inflation. At the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
A bit later, TikTok's still facing some challenges.
It's one of the most popular apps in the world. Now TikTok's CEO is ready to take on Congress. I'm Mark Meredith in Washington. We'll look at why some lawmakers want to ban TikTok once and for all.
Well, of course, it was warm and windy for us today. Temperatures mid to upper 70s to near 80 across the region. We're still into the 70s right now. We're just not going to drop off too much for us tonight. But you can see just north of the region, there's a cold front. It extends from about Lake of the Ozarks to about Fort Scott, just north of Wichita, over toward Dodge. Much cooler north of the front. This cooler air is working in, but it's going to take its time. It's not going to make it here for about 18 to 20-ish hours. So we're going to stay fairly mild for us tonight, but that front is what is going to fire off showers and thunderstorms for us tomorrow afternoon. 72, south winds at about 20, humidity at 64%. We have the clouds, nothing underneath the clouds, but our developing storm system out to the west, and our rain chances really start to go up as we go, especially tomorrow afternoon. So here's the noon hour, 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m., sticking around throughout the overnight hours for us tomorrow night. Not a huge severe threat, not a big tornado threat with this storm system, kind of a hail threat, especially southern Oklahoma, northern parts of Texas. For us, I think the bigger threat is going to be heavy rain, so possibly some flash flooding along and south of the I-44 corridor. But I'm going to keep all the threats low except the heavy rain, depending on where you live. If you live in southeastern Kansas, you're not going to have the heavy rain. All right, here comes the front. Slides to the I-44 corridor by noon, slides to our southern counties by evening. Because we're on the north side of the front, we don't have a huge severe threat. We're going to get some stronger storms, Delaware, Benton, McDonald, Berry counties. Everybody else had just good old showers and thunderstorms. But here they come, 6 p.m. Rounds of thunderstorms, training over the same location along and south of I-44. Periods of thunderstorms through the night, all the way into Friday morning. I think once we get to Friday morning, the heaviest rain is out of here, and then we just kind of settle into showers on and off throughout the entire day on Friday, and then this whole storm system will wrap up and head away from us late in the day on Friday. So we start the day upper 60s, we hold till our early afternoon, then we drop to 60, 55, 54. By 7 p.m. as that cooler air starts to work in. All right, look at these rainfall amounts. The areas that need it the most are right in here. Fredonia, Yates Center, Chanute, Iola, and you guys are the areas that are going to get the least, maybe 1/10 of an inch. Then it greatly jumps to about 1 inch in the metro to 1 to 2 inches once you get toward Neosho, 2 to 3 once you get into our southern counties. So that's why we have that flash flood threat along and south of I-44. So alert days tomorrow and Friday for a flash flood threat, southern counties. 56 Saturday, 60 on Sunday, could get a few showers. Most of the weekend looks good. More showers late Monday into Tuesday. Thunderstorms again Thursday and Friday. That will be our next severe threat 1 week away.
I mean, April is around the corner, so I'm not
April's
surprised to see some showers along the way.
April's going to be active.
All right. I bet you look forward to it.
I do.
All right. Thank you, Doug. Coming up in sports, we'll hear from the Missouri Southern softball team on their hot start to the season. Plus, it's day one of the Roy B. Shaver Classic in Neosho. Jacob Leonard joins us with that and more after the break.
The Missouri Southern Lions continue to climb in the national rankings this week. The Lions have cracked the top 10 in the country, moving up to number 7 in the latest NCBWA poll released today. Southern is on the field this afternoon for a non-conference game against Missouri S&T, looking for their 11th win in 13 games. Lions take care of business 14-5. Chayton Beck goes 1 for 3 with a 2-run double. Southern actually had 5 players today with 2 RBIs each. The Neosho Wildcats host the Roy B. Shaver Classic this week. The tournament features 8 Southwest Missouri teams playing over the next few days, with the championship game scheduled for Saturday. Now, the tournament host Wildcats play their first game of the Classic this afternoon against Reed Spring. In the first inning, Austin Rodriguez up for Neosho. Really thought he put this one out, but it goes off the fence and left. That brings Wyatt Shadwick home. RBI double for Rodriguez. Wildcats go up 2-0 after 1. Until the 4th, they add to the lead. Eli Czar grounds it through the left side. River Brill trots in from 3rd. Neosho gets 5 in the inning to take control of the game. Then on the mound, Quentin Hughes. It was good all game for Neosho. Strikeout there. He throws the whole game, and Reed Spring only manages 1 run. He was also getting some help from the defense. Fly to right here, Wyatt Shadwick. Nice diving grab. Neosho ends this one in 5 innings today. They win the tournament opener over Reed Spring 11-1. On their second game of the day, got another early finish. Neosho beats Hillcrest 10-0 in 6 innings. Check it out. Carter Finsky throws a no-hitter for the Wildcats, racking up 14 strikeouts. Eli Czar gets a 2-run homer for the Wildcats. Neosho going to be back on the field at noon on Friday facing Diamond. Well, this weekend is a big weekend for Missouri Southern softball. The Lions host a doubleheader against Northeastern State on Saturday before facing the defending national champion Rogers State for 2 more games on Sunday. Southern has been one of the best in the league so far this year. They're 18-7 overall, including 3-1 against MIAA opponents. They're getting big-time contributions across the board, including junior outfielder Yasmin Vargas. She leads the team in on-base percentage and leads the conference in stolen bases with 15 steals in just 19 games.
Yaz is a true triple threat, probably a defense's worst nightmare. She can hit the crap out of the ball, and she can also bunt and get on and steal some bases. So it's tough to play her defensively, and I'm glad she's on our team.
I got to get on base for my team. I know they have my back, and I know if I get on, they're going to move me around the bases. We do a lot of film, and we watch everybody, so being able to watch all the catchers and seeing how they play me and just being able to watch everybody and what they do is really important. So if they give me that opportunity, I'm taking it.
Castillo has a new home in the NFL. Clone Castillo has signed a deal to join the New York Jets. He spent the first 3 years of his career with the Ravens, appearing in 20 games and making 4 starts. He was an All-State pick for Webb City as a senior in 2015. Actually had a chance to visit with him today about signing in New York, and you can check out the full story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Obviously, we're having some difficulties with that full screen there, but this dude was a senior my first full year covering sports here, so he's kind of been here for the duration of my career. Seeing him, go on and do what he's done in the NFL has been such a cool experience.
And then now he gets to play with Aaron Rodgers, assuming he gets to play with Aaron Rodgers here this season.
I asked him today if he was on Aaron Rodgers' list of guys he wanted that we've heard reported. He said he didn't think so.
He's probably just being modest. All right. Back with more after this. TikTok CEO will testify on the Hill tomorrow, covering topics from minor safety to data privacy concerns. He needs to make a strong case for his platform, or else the Chinese-based app could face a full-blown ban in the U.S. Fox's Mark Meredith reports from Washington.
TikTok is good for the economy. That's the pitch the social media app's CEO will make to Congress Thursday. Shou Zishu will tell lawmakers TikTok offers more than viral trends and instead helps small businesses. Through prepared remarks, the company's CEO is expected to highlight a soap shop in Mississippi, which saw a surge in business after exposure on the app. With some nearly 70,000 followers, the sensation helped its owner turn a hobby into a job. TikTok is pleading with U.S. lawmakers not to ban the Chinese-owned app over concerns of privacy and national security risks.
Do they collect passwords? What data? What facial recognition data and voice data are they collecting? And is that going to the Chinese Communist Party? So we need to get the answers on that.
The White House is pressuring the app's parent company, ByteDance, to sell its stake or face a potential ban. TikTok insists it's not a security risk and that U.S. user data remains safe.
You're not the user, you are being used. It is harvesting your data among much else.
Despite the controversy, TikTok remains one of the most popular apps in America, with 150 million monthly users.
What's up, everyone?
That popularity, one reason why New York Democratic Congressman Jamal Bowman is against a ban. He's even embracing the app himself.
Peace and love, everyone.
A flood of TikTok influencers are here in Washington, expected to rally on Capitol Hill only hours before Thursday's closely watched hearing. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
Next, we take a look at one man's journey walking around the world. Well, we all know the song, I Will Walk 500 Miles. Well, one Wisconsin man took that and multiplied it by 50. He wanted to walk the circumference of the earth. And how long is that? As Colton Molesky reports, the journey took him nearly 9 years.
I was looking at the paper and there was an article in there about some gentleman who walked around the world. And I thought, I should do that.
Jay Kramer retired on April 4th of 2014. Shortly after, he set a goal to walk the equivalent of the distance around the world. He started with hikes out in Utah while visiting his son.
Already started with the hikes? Let's just do this.
The distance around the world is 24,901 miles. According to Kramer, who meticulously tracked his journey through his Fitbit, it totals to nearly 50 million steps.
In wintertime, it's usually about 5 miles a day. In the summertime, it's anywhere between 7 and 10.
The walks allowed Kramer to pursue the goal of getting in better shape during retirement, but it also allowed him to tackle his other retirement objective, reading more books, or in Kramer's case, listening.
I like to be on my feet moving, so that's why I thought, well, let's start listening to books. And I like the mystery type novels like James Patterson, Michael Connelly, Lee Child, that type of books. So it just kept me motivated.
On March 2nd, the 72-year-old not only finished his trek around the world, he also finished listening to 148 books. As for the next challenge, Kramer is taking on other planets.
It's either Mercury or Venus. The bottom line is I find a lot of enjoyment in doing it, and it gets me reading my books. So wherever it takes me, I'm just going to do it. Just keep walking.
And that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with the video of puppies getting ready for National Puppy Day. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.